Yo, what's up, guys? I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about Silk Sonic. This is a duo that I've been really high on since they've started making music, but as of recently, I can't get any of their songs out of my head, so I feel like this is kind of something that I just wanted to make, even though I know, like, maybe I'm a little late to it, making a video on this, but um, I, I truly can't get enough of, like, the things that Silk Sonic has put out, so I just like to talk about them for a little bit. So, a collaboration between Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak was never really something that I expected, but I couldn't be more happy that it happened, truly. Um, Silk Sonic released the two-time platinum soulful R&B pop amalgamation Leave the Door Open on March 5th, 2021, and if you somehow haven't heard that song yet, where have you been? This song dominated like every global chart that there is and had a clean sweep at the Grammys that year with two nominations and two wins, but they were also nominated and won two other Grammys that year. Now, they dropped the album on November 12th, 2021, and it hasn't really been something that I've moved on from since. I find myself going back to it very frequently, and with the lead singles that came out even before the album, with Leave the Door Open coming out, and then Skate, and then Smoking Out the Window just before the album's release. My expectations were set pretty high for this album, and they didn't disappoint at all. And this album is so good, and I've had it on repeat recently a lot more than I've had it on repeat for like, the rest of the year since it's been out. And I know it's only kind of dated since it only just came out in 2021, like late 2021, but I've been so obsessed with the whole like aesthetic that they've built here and the vibes that it gives off. Now, I have a lot of respect for Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, just not really having like a certain like leader throughout the album, but just kind of having like that guy on like whatever song kind of suits them more, or whatever song they feel they need to take over on. Just kind of going back and forth, like their dynamic is just so impressive. Now, I know it's kind of cringe to keep referencing like the vibes, but I think what they create in this album truly is something special, because not only are they going to play Sugar Daddy and spoil you, but they also do really seem to care, and it seems like they do want to have a bunch of kids running around the crib like it's Chuck E. Cheese. And while it is fun to listen to music where you're flying out a bad bitch and curving them, I mean, it is really different to listen to like Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars flex everything that they own in an album, but also just like cry out because they haven't found the one for them. It's just not really something that you get a whole lot of in today's music. And I think that the aesthetic, that like the 70s soul thing that they've really gone for in this album, takes that to a whole nother level. So I think the originality of their work goes a long way for them because I can't really seem to find this like feel anywhere else. So I'm kind of patiently waiting on them to drop like new music because I'm absolutely hooked on everything that they've built with like this last album, and I mean Love's Train, which came out like earlier this year in 2022. Bringing in the king of funk, Bootsy Collins, was such a smart move by the duo because, as I'm sure they realize, there's a lot of power in collaboration. So bringing somebody with as much experience as he brings to the table did a lot for them because I think they actually got their name from him, but I'm not 100% sure. I think I read that somewhere a long time ago. Playing into the whole power of collaboration thing, I think it'd be pretty nice to have somebody else in the studio who you can bounce your ideas off of and tell you to maybe put like a certain instrument in a specific spot in the song because it would help go for like the sound that you're looking for, or putting a Yes Lord in the perfect spot, which we all know Anderson .Paak is fully capable of. Now, I think even outside of the music, everything that Silk Sonic does to promote their work is just like perfect for what they're going for. I think that with the merch, I know they've done the limited cassettes, which are pretty cool. And although it's common, obviously the vinyls, it's super cool to like fit that aesthetic. And even in the clothes that they've made, everything is like vintage looking. And I think this shirt specifically would be a great Christmas gift. So if you're watching, I want this one. Thank you. Now the accolades and vibes are one thing, but even if I didn't care about music as much as I do, I would still really appreciate Silk Sonic for what they've created with this album, just like, sonically. There's not a ton of songs I remember listening to for the first time, but Smoking Out the Window is one of them. And I remember I was taking my tips from work in the 45-second drive from work to the bank, and then, the few-minute drive from the bank to my house. I listened to this song about 3 or 4 times, and I kind of knew that this album was going to be a big hit. And, I mean, after they released the album, the group became pretty big, and I mean maybe that could be credited to the success of Bruno Mars that we've seen in the past. But Anderson .Paak is equally as talented, and he brings a lot to the table, and I can't really say I'm surprised by their success. As for my favorite songs on this album, I wish I could just name a few, but this genuinely is the kind of album where there's no skips at all, because every single album brings something different to the table, and they all kind of have their moments. 10 songs, 36 minutes, and 26 seconds of pure soulful bliss and emotion. Bruno Mars brings his nostalgic belting that we loved hearing in songs like Grenade when we asked our mom to take us to the bowling alley. And of course, Anderson .Paak bring his exuberating swag that we've seen on tracks like RNP by Cordae, and throughout his contemporary rap and hip hop albums Ventura, and even his earlier work. The things these men come together to form is different than a lot of the things we see in pop culture today, so naturally they're going to stick out and make a name for themselves as they did. Now, I know this album's been out for a while, so if there's anything you'd like to talk about, please feel free to drop that in the comments. If you liked the video, please leave a like. I appreciate you guys all for watching, and like I said throughout this video, Silk Sonic is timeless, and I'm sure I'll be listening to a ton more of them in the future. Thank you guys.